Sorry, everyone, if you can actually see us right now. I'm just double checking to make sure that we are live on Facebook. So if you are live with us on Facebook, please let us know that we are live. Okay. I think we're live. And if we're not, I guess we'll find out later and we'll have to upload it. But in the meantime, for everybody who has found us and does see us recording live, welcome to Spark Starter, the podcast dedicated to sharing stories that ignite female entrepreneurs into action. I'm your host, Elizabeth Goede, and I'm here to fan the flame of your entrepreneurial spirit. Each week, we bring to you the inspiring stories of women trailblazers from around the world who have sparked change in their industries, powered their ideas into thriving businesses, and pioneered their way to success. So, whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a startup enthusiast, or a seasoned business leader, join us as we delve into the journeys of these incredible women whose tales will surely ignite a spark in each one of us. My guest today is Tywanah Evette, an intuitive healer and psychic with over 35 years of dedicated service in the business world. She now gracefully is transitioning into a more profound spiritual space. With a compassionate heart and unwavering commitment to guiding others, Tywanah has been a beacon of light for individuals, entrepreneurs, corporate officials, and even White House appointees throughout their professional and personal journeys. In the fast paced world of business and politics, Tywanah has provided invaluable support, seamlessly blending intuition and empathy to help individuals navigate the complexities of their professional and personal lives. The corporate landscape has been Tywanah's canvas for over 3 decades, where her intuitive gifts have been an unknowing source of solace and clarity for those facing high stake decisions and demanding responsibilities. As Tywanah embarks on this new chapter, the call to delve deeper into the spiritual realms has become undeniable. This transition isn't simply about changing careers, it's about a journey of soulful growth, driven by a deep longing of profound healing to those in search of a harmonious balance in their lives. It's within this context that Black Butterfly Goddess has emerged. Tywanah, what an intro!
Thank you. Thank you so
It's so
much.
exciting to have you here today. And there are so many things just in that intro that we covered today. And what I'd love to do is sort of, a little bit peel back the onion and talk about sort of where you started your career, which certainly sounds like it has been very exciting and covered a lot of different
Yes.
areas. So take us back to the beginning. Take us back to where you started.
I actually started working at 13 years old when I got my working papers in New York City. I'm from New York City. And my sister was the office manager for a technology firm. And so I've never worked like a McDonald's job or anything like that. I went straight into the office, workspace. When I graduated high school, they hired me permanently. And then I went on to tech support shortly after that.
Okay.
And
That's crazy.
yes, then yeah, I've worked for two nonprofits. I supported White House appointees for a few years. So it's been fun. It's been interesting. Um,
How do you go from
and
tech support to supporting White House um, appointees? Just help
I
bridge that gap for me.
Executive administration. So,
Okay.
because you have to be great at administration to do proper tech support. I was, able to hone in on my executive assistant skills, and that's what I did for them. 24/7 on call executive assistant, and that was quite the adventure. Quite the adventure. Um,
I bet it was. In what interesting, probably different personality types too, from where you came from to those
oh
personality
yes.
types.
Oh yes, very different. I had I was appointed to some really, excuse me, great people. I met Mr. Colin Powell. I've held meetings with them. I built a correspondence tracking system for the uh, agency that I was assigned to, for the appointees that I was assigned to, because of course it was post 9/11. So
Oh,
every
sure.
piece of mail had to be logged, every piece of, we needed to know each step of where each piece of mail went, what was responded to. So I built their database, their correspondence tracking system, so that, my techie side was able to show a little bit and shine. And then I went on to Boys and Girls Clubs of America. And right after I was hired there, I had my car accident, and it changed everything.
So, before we get into the car accident, Boys and Girls Club of America, very interesting. I actually, when I was on the corporate side of things, which has been a very long time ago now, I actually did a partnership with the Boys and Girls Club of America, where we actually put in community gardens all over the country. So,
Oh my God.
certainly an organization near and dear to my heart.
They are exceptionally wonderful. I could not have asked for a more supportive group of, bosses and supervisors, and the energy there, it just makes you want to go to work every day. Um,
Yeah.
that's the way they are. It just makes you excited to get up and go to work every day. So,
Yeah. And this is
that was
certainly
a little
not a
part of
podcast.
it.
Right, right. Well, so while you're there and you're working for this organization that you love and
Mhm.
you're doing work that you love, you have sort of a monumental shift handed to you, right? Which is your
Yes,
car accident. Can you sort of walk us through your car accident and then, what happened next?
absolutely. They were allowing us to bring the kids to work. It was December 30th, 2004. So I had, my kids in the car. I'm on the way to work. I'm at the four-way stop sign right before we get on the highway. And I turned around and said to my kids, what do you guys want from Starbucks when we get there? And I looked and I saw headlights. And I literally had 10 seconds to react. I couldn't have turned, I couldn't have backed up. There was just no time to do anything. So, I said a little prayer as a mom, and I was sitting there and I'm like, if anybody has to be hurt, let it be me, not my kids. And then I put the car in reverse intuitively. Didn't even, so she hit us head on. The
Oh my
impact
gosh.
was so severe, the emblem from my car was lodged in the windshield.
Oh
But
my gosh.
none of my kids have permanent injuries. That was the mother's prayer that was answered. Not one of my children have lasting injuries from that wreck. And by all accounts, the two of us in the front seat shouldn't have even been here. Um, so, here I am thinking, oh, I'm fine. I'll be back to work next week. I call my supervisor, let him know what happened. And that night, after the medicine and things wore off from the ER, I hit the floor. I had never felt such pain in my life. It was blinding. It was horrible. And found out that two discs had been knocked out of my spine.
Oh
And I
my
was pretty
gosh.
much, it was at the L5 S1 level. So I pretty much had bones sitting on the sciatic nerve.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
it took a long time to get approved for my big surgery, but in the meantime, they were doing procedures on my back, to try to relieve some of the pain and the pressure. And Boys and Girls Club, they were amazing. There was not one day that a plant, a gift basket, a fruit basket, a cookie tray, pizza. There was not one day where someone there didn't send us a loving gift. So I cherish them forever for that. Um, but it took 2 years to get approved for my big back surgery. And the surgeon used an approach that was not approved by the FDA at the time. And
Oh
so
no.
could not figure out why, 5 months later, why am I still in debilitating pain? This is
Hmm.
ridiculous. And found out he had used an approach that wasn't approved at the time. He was very cocky. I should have known by his energy, but you're trusting in it
Right.
was the hospital that's connected to Shepherd Spinal Center in Atlanta that treats athletes. I'm thinking I'm in great
Right.
hands. So
Right.
what happened? Bone has grown over my hardware and it sits on the sciatic nerve. So I live in debilitating pain every day. But every day I get up and fight. So
So, so you go from this terrible, terrible car accident that changes the trajectory of your life, and this is
yes,
in 2004.
yes,
And obviously, we're here today because you've started a company and started a business. So let's
yes.
talk about how these injuries and this accident actually sort of changed from staying, with Boys and Girls Club or going back into sort of that industry. Most people would say, listen, if I'm going to be in pain and I am have had this change in life, I want to
Hmm.
go back and have quote unquote stability from going
Hmm.
back into sort of the corporate America, but you didn't do that.
I
So
couldn't.
so tell me, yeah, so tell me about how Butterfly Goddess happened.
Black Butterfly Goddess, my alter ego, also my company name, was born out of needing to heal, needing to heal childhood trauma, needing to really heal and sit with how I felt. That it was so unfair that I still live with these injuries, and the other lady who hit us goes on with her life. Um, and I realized that I can help so many people because so many people are living with pain. So many people are living with invisible illnesses, as they refer to them now. Um, but I also have this connection with the spirit realm. And that
Mm.
became undeniable after I moved back to DC. So in putting those two together, I'm not a certified coach yet, but I offer mentorship in how to get through these issues, as well as, the business side of things, how to navigate becoming an entrepreneur, because I took all the steps myself. Um, all of my college courses are business law and, entrepreneurship, but to apply it, it's very different than reading it or writing a paper. So I
Yeah,
see
it
myself,
sure is.
yeah, yeah, it really is when you realize how many moving pieces there are to becoming an entrepreneur. Um, I joke with two of my friends all the time about, people say they want to be an entrepreneur so bad until they realize we have 14 and 15-hour days and, they're not all great. Um, but I've always had a heart to help people. And because of all my life experiences, I am now, and because I have taken a very long 2.5 year focus on healing journey, I am now in a space where I can help guide others out of, whatever darkness they're in. So if it's divorce, I understand that. If it's starting a business, I understand that. If it's pain in the body, I understand that. If it's childhood trauma, I can lead you through it, you know. So that's where Black Butterfly Goddess came from. And butterflies are my thing. I am a butterfly fanatic. But I chose black butterfly instead of like my favorite color, purple, because I had to embrace the darkness in order to come to the light.
Mm.
I couldn't have animosity toward the spaces that brought me to where I am today. And the black butterfly, of course, is the most rare. So, yes, I am an intuitive guide, mentor, and healer, and a psychic.
Well, I think that those are really great, services that you can provide people. I think the intuitive and psychic part certainly, helps from, opening up things that maybe people haven't seen.
Yes.
So back to when you started the business. So did you actually start your business then, like right immediately following the car accident, or
No,
was there sort of a
there were I started a company. My ex-husband and I had a company that would get financing for people who, didn't have great credit. He bought me out of that in the divorce. um, and then I started a personal shopping company when I was in Atlanta, and served some of the wealthiest people in the Atlanta area, who were absolutely heartbroken when I told them I was moving. And, it was very special. They still love me. They still stay connected to me. And, but when I came back to DC, it was like a reminder of some things that I had not healed. So, while I'm helping my sister heal through her own, losing her loved one and helping her raise this cane corso, you know, a lot of things were highlighted. So when I moved into my own space, I really just dug my heels in and said, I'm jumping in with both feet. And that's been me.
Yeah, that's great. So tell us a little bit about the business side of the business. So are you do you have any staff that works for you, or are you sort of guiding all of this completely on your own?
I'm doing most of it on my own. However, I don't like calling her staff because she's my birthday bestie. We were born on the same day. But she's an amazing friend. And I actually have two friends who help like with social media, so those things stay updated, that, things are actively going in there. They remove negative comments. They deal with anyone who puts negative comments up. And they're not getting paid very much to do it right now because I'm still, in a lot of the planning processes, creating workshops and things like that. But they
Sure.
allow me to focus on the bigger picture. So, birthday bestie, excuse me, I'm sorry, she will take over the tarot readings, because energetically
Okay.
they drain me. They If
Sure.
I do a tarot reading, I'm out for a couple of days. I can do oracle all day. I can intuitively guide someone all day, but tarot, it cuts and it's exhausting. So we are updating the website to, bring her in to the mix of Black Butterfly Goddess, and we share similar backgrounds, similar stories. It's crazy that we were born on the same day. Like the universe just aligned everything perfectly for us. So
Well, I would say the universe was working at over time as well, from a standpoint of, I think, as women, we sometimes forget that we can get help from others, right? We feel like we do have to do it all alone. So it's really nice to hear that, you've found people who can help, and also in the skill set that you have, that isn't an easy, necessarily an easy thing to bring someone into. So that's
Mm-mm.
really, really great. What would you say has been the most difficult thing about having a business?
Getting people to trust you. Excuse me, because in order to be successful in business, people have to trust you. No matter what it is that you're doing, mechanics, tech support, whatever it is you're doing, there has to be a certain level of trust. And, as I'm speaking out, more people are coming. So they're starting to see, my authenticity, that I am who I say I am, that I've got integrity. So things are coming about now. But in the beginning, it's really aligning yourself with the right people to put yourself out there and then get the public to trust you. So that has been the most challenging. And in the space that I'm in, there's a lot of fake people pretending to
Sure.
have these gifts to monetize, whereas
Sure.
I will undercut myself just to be able to help someone who's in a sad or a dark space. So that's the difference, it's a fine line when you're walking in the spirit realm and business.
Absolutely. Absolutely, it is. What would you say has been the best thing about starting your business?
The people that I'm meeting,
Yeah.
the opportunities that are being laid at my feet that I never in a million years dreamed that this New York City girl would ever have. Um, I'm part of an anthology book that I will be a published author on October 29th. Um, I am speaking at women's summits over the summer. I've been chosen to be a guest speaker for 2 women's summits. Um, I'm on podcasts like yours, So I see all of these as just opportunities that have really just aligned themselves for me. And
Mhm.
it's overwhelming, the emotion that you feel when you see that all you had to do was say yes to yourself. It's
Yeah,
we complicate it sometimes, but sometimes we just really need to say yes to us. We can do it for everyone
100%.
else as women, but ourselves.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
accepting my gifts and saying yes has been the greatest blessing that I could have ever received.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. And, I mean, certainly it's coming from your business background, right? Coming from more the corporate world and especially, the political scene and those types of things. And to hear, that the best part about having your business is the people that you get to meet. I mean, I think that is a really inspiring sort of moment that I want to focus on for women who are starting businesses, which is, a lot of times we think we have to be in these big profile places in order to, have these really rewarding experiences. But just listen to
Yes.
your story. You're like, listen, I came from there. I was with all these incredible people, but really where I'm loving things is right here, having my own business.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
So, Tywanah, when we look into building businesses and sort of all the setup, it's not free to start a business. I think that's sort of like some of the misconception I think that sometimes people have is that
Yes.
it's free, right? It's my thing, so it's not going to cost anything.
Mm-mm.
How did you tackle the startup costs that were involved in having a business? Is that something that you went out and sought funding for? Is that something that sort of obviously you had a very big uh, life-changing moment that
Mhm.
that sort of sparked you in here. So I know that you weren't necessarily working extra jobs in order to fund here. So what was your strategy?
I did do project work so that I could
Okay.
pour that money into Black Butterfly Goddess, and the licensing and the software and the subscriptions and everything that I need, the technology, everything that I need. I went ahead and, would accept projects on Upwork because I didn't want to work
Yeah.
for other people anymore, but I still have this
Mhm.
executive administration skill set that I've had my entire
Right.
life. So I kind of put that into use in order to achieve my dream. So
Yeah.
it's all self-funded right now.
And I think that that also goes to show, I mean, when you really want something, you figure out how to make it happen, right? And
Yes.
so you certainly were doing the things that you needed to make sure that you had the financial abilities to be able to start your business.
Yes.
So one sort of interesting question that I always like to throw in is, what has having your own business, what's the biggest surprise? Like, what's the thing that like isn't necessarily good, isn't necessarily bad? It's like a surprise of having your business.
The amount of time I have to spend on social media. I was not
Isn't that the
prepared for
truth?
that. I was not prepared for that. And I used to like Facebook and stuff, but I literally walk around with a device attached to me, and I'm checking, stats for Meta, and I'm checking stats for, this TikTok video, and how am I doing here,
Yeah,
and how am I doing there, and comments and everything else.
right.
So yes, the amount of time that I spend on social media, it was a shocker.
I think that's a very honest answer. And I think if all of us look deep inside, maybe not even that deep that we have to go, it is a lot of time. So, before we wrap up, I want to touch on like the human side of things.
Hmm.
So, we should not let your youthful appearance fool us. You are actually already a grandmother.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. To a little boy and a little girl. You know, they have driven me. They're thinking of them, and of course, their mom and their aunts. It's what drives me to keep going. It's what drives me, on the days that I am in, you know, dire pain, where it's hard to look at a
Mhm.
screen all day. I think of them,
Right.
and it just gives me that inspiration to take one more step, just one more step, one more step, one more minute on this, one more podcast,
Mhm.
whatever it is. They are my driving force, my children and my grandchildren. So yeah, it's them.
Yeah, that's so special, and so special to be able to, be also building sort of this legacy, in your business that they're going to have to aspire and look up to. I mean, what a great inspiration for them to have in their life.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you also are a Pilates fanatic.
Love it. Pilates is my favorite thing ever. It's the one exercise that spine surgeons love, because you're building the core with no impact. You're laying on the reformer the whole time. So
Sure.
it's great for those of us with severe spine injuries, because we're not running and causing more damage. We're not,
Mm.
having to do any of that. So, and I don't know why I fell in love with it. It makes me feel empowered. It makes me feel normal
Yeah,
again. I think that's what it is. It
good.
makes me feel like I'm normal again.
Well, and really healthy, right? To have a balance. I mean, you talked about it a little bit earlier when you talked about most people, think they want to be an entrepreneur until they realize like the amount of effort that goes into it. But I would also say kudos to you that you're also balancing that with things that you love that are also good for you, that keep you healthy. So I
Yes.
think that there's a good sort of message in there too, which is sort of, sitting at your desk staring at a computer screen all day is probably not the healthiest, most balanced way for you to grow your business.
No, no, there has to be balance with your, work life, even if you're working corporate America, but especially if you're an entrepreneur. It is easy to get sucked in the vortex of sitting at your desk all day and all night.
Absolutely.
So you have to have something
Absolutely.
to
I have an Apple Watch that that tattles on me when I've been sitting here for too long.
I love it. I love it.
So,
But yeah,
a couple sort of final questions for you before we wrap up today. One of those is I always like to ask every guest, what is one word or short phrase that you would give as entrepreneur as to future female entrepreneurs as inspiration?
keep going.
Mm,
Usually your breakthrough is right on the other side of the most difficult moment. So keep going.
that is fantastic advice. I love that so much.
Thank you.
And the last thing is, Taiwan, for anyone who's interested in learning more about your sort of, intuitive, experiences and guidance, how did they find you?
Blackbutterflygoddess.com is my website. There's links there to my calendar. If anybody wants to, have a consultation, I do free consultations. Um, Black Butterfly Goddess on all social media platforms. And email is, I made it easy, info@blackbutterflygoddess.com so that they don't have to try to spell my name. So that's how I'm reached.
Very smart. Good insights there.
Thank you.
Well, Tywanah, I want to thank you so much for being my guest today. It was a pleasure getting to know you and your experiences, and so excited to follow along with you in the future. I also want to thank all of our listeners that joined us live today, as well as those who, will be listening to the recording of the Spark Starter podcast. It's
And
been
thank
my
you.
pleasure bringing you the uniquely inspiring stories that ignite female entrepreneurs into action. I've been your host, Elizabeth Goede, and on behalf of the awe-inspiring women entrepreneurs out there, I encourage you to not only dream big, but to ignite those dreams into action. Remember, every spark can lead to an extraordinary fire. So keep the spark alive for today, tomorrow, and the vibrant future beyond. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast to never miss a spark. Until next time, stay ignited. Tywanah, thank you so much again for joining us. Are there any parting words that you'd like to give before we sign off today?
Um, I just want, especially women, take a moment and celebrate yourself and get into that quiet space. You're going to find what your purpose is, but sometimes we have to quiet what's around us. And your purpose is what sparks you. It's what sets your heart ablaze.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, Tywanah, thank you so much. And hey, everybody, we'll catch you next time.